Welcome back to Season 2 of Sailing Sitka. We are Jay and Kenna, two young Canadians who stepped outside the box of comfort and decided to act on their ambitions of sailing around the world. We first set sail from Victoria, BC, Canada, and have been adventuring around Mexico ever since. In this season, we'll be sailing on, further south and closer towards our dreams of exploring everywhere the sea touches. So sit back, subscribe, and enjoy the ride.
Rough morning, very rough morning. It's about 6 a.m. right now. Our autopilot won't turn on, and we had like a copious amount of water in the engine bilge. So for those of you who are concerned about the amount of water that we are pumping out of our bilge, it is a direct result to the leak from a rudder shaft seal in which we discovered when we were anchored in the Sea of Cortez. Typically, the bilge doesn't fill this much, but while anchored in Tenacatita for over a week, and the movement from the swells resulted in more of a water intake from the leak as opposed to when we are actively sailing. Have no fear, this is the exact reason we have decided to leave Sitka on the heart in Chiapas this year, rather than in the water in El Salvador, just to be safe. We are going to be fixing this problem, but we need to be in the Chiapas Marina next to the haul-out spot, just in case things go awry when Jace tries to change the sealant while remaining in the water. Anyway, more on that matter down the line. For now, let's get this boat in ship shape to motor down to Barra De Navidad.
Alright, good morning guys. Well, we're finally underway. It's a motor today, there's no wind at this time. So you can go in there apparently at low tide, but it's really not recommended. A lot of people hit ground at high tide there. So we're gonna go on a rising tide. So we don't wanna go at high tide, because if you get stuck at high tide, then you're getting stuck till the following high tide. So we don't wanna be those people. We hopefully don't wanna touch ground, but we're gonna go in 2 hours before max high tide. So if we do get stuck, then there's a chance of getting unstuck pretty much right away. But it is a very, very, very narrow passage entrance to get to that lagoon. And it's not marked. Like once you get in there, like the entrance to the Barra is marked, but then the little narrow passage to the Anchorage is not marked. There's good soundings on Navionics, so that's good, but there's no actual markings in the water. So you gotta apparently be dead on, because like our neighbors at this Anchorage that we just left showed us the pin of where they hit the ground, and I'm like on the chart they were like half an inch off. Like I mean they were close. So a little rough start this morning. The engine bilge was pretty full, so we had to empty it. It just, if water gets in there, it just stays there unless you actually pump it out until it gets to a high level enough to go in the main bilge. We're using our little diaphragm pump, so it takes forever. So we cleared that out before leaving, and then went to turn the autopilot on, and nothing. Like it wasn't giving me the beep. So I've had that issue in the past. Like if you go back to one of our first ever episodes, it was just a fuse, basically one of the 2 amp C-Talk fuses. I don't know why it does that. Once in a while, every couple months, a fuse blows on there, and then we put another one and blew right away, and then now it's fine. So luckily that was only the issue. But I think I might have used my last 2 amp fuse. So I'm gonna go through our spares when we get to Barra. And if we don't have another pack of those, I might go on the net there and ask if anybody wants to trade a couple 2 amp fuse for something else, because it would really suck to not have the autopilot, especially when we're motoring. If we're sailing, we don't care, we use the wind vane, but when we're motoring, the autopilot's key. So yeah, it's a very short sail today. We're gonna get there just after sunrise basically, and make our way in there. So apparently it's flat calm in there, so it's gonna be really nice, because we haven't had a flat calm Anchorage in a long time. This area here is marked, but then once you pass the marina, there's no markings, and boats go ashore a lot. Like our buddy boat like went ashore right here. So like this book is accurate, but the thing is these sandbars shift over time, so it's like you have to take your time. Apparently this combined with Navionics, if you follow the soundings, you should be in good. Like, I mean, some people draw 8 foot and they make it safely in, and some people draw 5 and hit bottom here. So, but we're going on a rising tide, like I said earlier, so should be good. Should be good.
So every port smells drastically different than the next, and this one is literally like cinnamon hearts that you get for Valentine's Day when you're in elementary school. Like it's actually very overwhelming. It's just like intense cinnamon spiciness smelling. It's actually pretty cool to be on the ocean and then smelling sweet cinnamon candy. All right, we are starting to make our approach here into Barra. This is the time where Jay needs to be dialed in, following those charts religiously. I'm going to be at the bow, overlooking everything, make sure no boats are coming or anything, and he's just going to be watching that depth sounder like a hawk, pretty much. Should be fine. We've just heard some horror stories and have gotten a little anxious about it, but I'm sure we're good. We're on a rising tide right now. And yeah, I got the GoPro 9 behind me right there, doing a little time lapse from the entrance. Let's not run aground. We are now in the spot where it's sketchy. Should be good? Oh, okay, we're good, we're good. Six feet, 5 feet, 3 feet, 2 feet.
Just went 2.9. 3.
She's shallow, but I think we're good. Anchorage is right up ahead, which is exciting. This place is tropical, let me tell you. Like, surrounded by dense forest, rainforest, I guess. As rainforesty as Mexico gets. And just palm trees. You can hear the birds chirping. It's really cool. We haven't been around a town in a bit now. Shamela, I guess, about a week ago. So, yeah, it's nice to be somewhere new. Showing up to a new Anchorage is always like the most exciting thing. We have a bunch of friends in here as well, so we're really excited to see them. Yeah, we haven't seen Double Deuce, Amy and Matt and their kids in a year now at this point, probably. And the Mondays are here, which is exciting. Breaking Waves, we haven't seen those guys in about a year as well. There's a bunch, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other awesome sailors in here too, which is exciting. There we go.
Felt a good bite.
Yeah, really good bite. It pulled the bow forward. That was so cute. So like our friends were yelling at us on Double Deuce, and on Mondays they were like screaming, and it's like early. That's hilarious. Love coming into an Anchorage knowing your friends are there. It's actually awesome.
The next day, after one of the best sleeps of our lives, we woke up to Sitka sitting pretty in the lagoon of Barra De Navidad, one of the flattest anchorages Sitka's ever been in since BC, Canada. Without further ado, we jumped in our dinghy to go explore this beautiful place.
And the old... Yeah, so the reason we're here is we need to get some money! And there's no ATMs. Well, there is an ATM in Barra, but they charge you like $14 to take money out. So we're like, no, we'll just take a 25-cent bus ride and go explore a bit. This is how you want it.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, you guys.
All right, good morning, people. Well, it is bright and early, but we are out of milk, so we are going to go on a little mission today. And people say there's nothing better than getting it right from the source, so let's see what we get up to. We're gonna go right to the tits, to the titties.
So you're like, what is gonna go?
Well, you heard Jay right. We're going into town to get some fresh milk right from the source. Our new friends, Josh and Cece, as well as Jacqueline and Mark, invited us to go for a traditional and popular roadside drink called perrejetes. Perrejetes, according to the internet, is a spiked milk to get you energized and high before work. Consisting of a blend of high-proof alcohol, chocolate, coffee, and milk straight from the udders of goats or cows makes up this early morning drink referred to as a perrejete, which is also known to cure hangovers. With little to no knowledge on the amounts to use or guidance in what to do, we just started pouring and mixing up our concoctions. After you create your drink, you set it on fire to kill off any germs or bacteria the fresh milk may have.
It actually looks good. It's very soft. What's going on in there, Ratty?
Oh, Lucy's coming out. Come on, Luce. She knows. She doesn't even have to guide her. She's like happy to come.
Oh, she's like, take me now. Oh, you can tell it is full, actually. I feel like mine is.
Yeah, it's still on fire.
Yeah, it's been on, like, my finger's starting to.
This one you can tell a little bit more. Look at that flame coming out.
How about that, eh?
Oh, it's hot. Can I try?
¿Eh? ¿Eh? Ve por este lado. De aquí está caliente.
I'm scared. How do you get more milk?
Yeah.
Yeah! Oh, it's hard. Okay. That's
He's good.
You're good. Muy bien.
We were all a little skeptical, but the second that first sip hit our lips, we were hooked. I said if I were to close my eyes and you were to blindly give me a Starbucks coffee in one hand and a para jetes in another, I simply would not know how to tell them apart. I know that sounds crazy, but I swear it was extremely tasty. It wasn't until after getting weird and drunk with our friends over boozy goat milk that we started to Google the effects of para jetes to find out there has actually been numerous deaths over this roadside concoction. Who's to know the truth behind this, but it definitely made us question our life choices for a second. But hey, no good story ever starts with someone eating a salad. Okay, I just finished editing today. Took me about 7 hours. So I'm happy to be done in my little editing cave down there. And now, as a reward, it's like a reward.
It's like a reward.
I get to go for sushi with my love.
Yeah, it's really rare that we go for sushi in Mexico. Actually, we barely ever do because honestly, it's usually not the greatest. And Mexican food's usually a lot better than trying to get Japanese in Mexico. So we just go for traditional Mexican dishes because they're typically better with fresh ingredients and so forth. But we've been told by several people now to go check out the same little restaurant where we actually got fresh water from.
Yeah.
And they were super nice. And it kind of makes sense now that, because I read back on our old neighbor Sue at the last Anchorage, she told me about the sushi restaurant. And it turned out it was the same as the water, and she had mentioned that. But it made sense now when I walked through it why there's soya sauce on each table.
Should be real good. And it's really, really hot here. We are sticky all the time. Hot. Are you beaching it?
Just that way, wherever. We'll just tight that. I'm sweating too, though.
We started to fall in love with Barra, especially the flat and calm anchorage it provided. That is until the day that we dragged.
Fuck, we're dragging. We're under it now. Full of complete mud. All this awful re-anchoring we dragged. Everybody's watching. This is so hard.
Anchor drug and just picked up so much mud.
That was...
Probably the sketchiest thing we've had to deal with. No, it is the sketchiest thing I've ever had to deal with at Anchor.
Thank you for watching this week's episode of Sailing Sitka. Stick around for more to come. If you enjoyed, please spread the love and let us know. Special thank you to our Patreon members for making these videos possible, as well as helping our dreams come true. See you all next week.